crosslay. The 3-inch crosslay we have is going to have this nozzle on there. This operates different than what we would normally think for a nozzle. It's a combination nozzle. It's both Smoothbore and fog. I based it off what we had on the aerial. To run the fog setting, which is most likely what we're going to be doing, we actually don't operate the bail. We twist your tip like this. That puts it into fog mode. If you crank it all the way out, you'll see it says closed. It'll shut off flow here. Your bail, if you open just the bail itself, it'll run it just as a smoothbore with 1 1/8" dip. And that's how you operate this nozzle. There's one here, one on the crosslay, and there's also some on the 51 or the aerial that are just like this. We also took some old nozzles off of 31, and these are just here as extras as we need them. This compartment here, we have two 2.5-inch gate valves, an air aspirating tip for foam operations, and the extra gate valves or gated wives will go in here, as well as any other fittings or additions we need to add to it. This compartment is going to be all our forcible entry and hand tools. Right now, we're still waiting for some mounts to get it on, but this will be a slide-out tray that will have our bolt cutters on it. Our tool board, we have one married set of irons on this side, a short pike pull, a sledgehammer. To get it open, just a push button here. It swings out. On the reverse side, we have our pickaxe, and then one more set of married irons. These can stay together. Obviously, you can pull them out and use them with each individual tool if you need to. To reset it, push back, flip your lever closed. On our bottom compartments, we're not going to do it on both sides to show you, but it is identical on both sides. Your most forward compartment has an air pack and a mask. The next two compartments will have 2 bottles in the middle compartment, 3 spare bottles on the rear compartment. This compartment here is all our extra hose. We've got 100 feet of 1 3/4, 100 feet of 3-inch, and a 25-foot roll of 5-inch. It's going to be your pony roll for short stacks to the hydrant. At the very top here, we have our our foam ejector. This is a secondary for some reason if our foam injection system doesn't work. We want to run some short applications of foam, or if we want to use any Class B foam. Our foam system on the engine is Class A only, so if we want to run any foam B or Class B foam, we'll use that foam ejector. Right now, there's no other plans for anything in this compartment until we maybe add on stuff. Our compartment here, we've got our low-level strainer for drafting operations. We've got our chainsaw, vent saw here, a spare chain. By the end of the day, I'll have some spare fuel in here for us to use. And then we've got our circular saw here. They're held up with some straps, just buckles to operate them. And we also have a assortment of additional blades for the circular saw in this special holder right there. On the rear of the truck, we have another 150-foot cord reel. The junction box is pre-connected, so you don't have to disconnect with the twist block. We have our standard foam bucket that we have on all our apparatus. It was easier for us to put it here, so it's going to be a little bit different than all the other engines. Instead of being in the compartment over here, it'll be in the rear, laid out pretty much identical otherwise. We have our positive pressure ventilation fan. At the current moment, we just have the 2 batteries, so they're going to be on a charger. I'm going to be ordering 2 new batteries, so every month we should be swapping out the batteries that operate this. They sit in the back. They're pretty hard to miss. They're DeWalt flex volt batteries. However, there is a backup redundancy. That's why there's the extension cord. You can plug into your generator, plug into the back of it, and you can still operate the fan just fine. It's lightweight, portable. We can roll around the scene, and it weighs about 40-45 pounds. In the hose bed, I'm not going to pull all the tarps off. We have our typical 5-inch on this end. Should be 600 feet of 5-inch to our electronic valve. We then have 700 feet of 3-inch. At the current moment, we'll probably connect that to a traditional style skid load. Right now, we don't have it all set up yet because we're waiting for gated wires to come in. And then here we have 2 dead lays. Those are each going to be 200 feet of 1 3/4 with nozzles pre-connected. They're not connected to anything at the time. You can just shoulder them, set them where you need, and hook them up. Walk into the back here, we have an assortment of cribbing. We also have our winch. Once again, our winch points, there's one down here on each side as well as a 12-volt plug-in, and then one on the rear with one 12-volt plug-in. So the winch can be picked up, preferably 2 people, slide it in, lock it in with your pin, plug in your power. All you have to have is battery power on, preferably have your engine on, you can run the winch. This is tentatively planned to hold our stabilization struts for extrication. They're on back order amongst other things. We're going to try to fit all 4 on here. I'm not sure how it's going to work yet. Otherwise this may just turn into a tool board, but tentatively this will be for our struts. This compartment here, we have the old airbags off 51 until the new airbags come in. We'll have 4 airbags with the new system, and they'll be able to run on our normal 4,500 PSI system. If you're familiar with the ones that are on the aerial, we have to have a 2216 PSI bottle. That's what's here. We have our bag with all our airbag equipment, as well as our airbags here. These here will probably get shifted around between the compartments. These are for your rocker panel on your cars. So if you need to use the RAM, you can use the RAM on that. And then this one will get relabeled, but this is a whole chain set that works with the extrication equipment. We're not going to dive in too much into it, but you can use it to pull or anything like that with the RAM. Our compartment here, we've got 3 permanently mounted scene lights. They're battery powered. We're going to have all this laid out, plugged in and charging. We just haven't got to it yet. We've got 2 spare batteries for the jaws. Every month we need to be cycling batteries out. At least take the 2 that are on the charger, grab 2 of the random tools, bring those around and cycle them. These are the batteries right now that are going to be running the fan. I'm going to be ordering 2 more of these, so we should have 2 for the fan, 2 on chargers, and be cycling them monthly. As well as these have a Sawzall. It's going to be a battery-powered reciprocating saw. It'll be DeWalt as well. It'll come with its own separate battery. All these batteries will be interchangeable. It'll just be a little bit lower of an amperage. So try to keep the large amp hour batteries to the saw or to the fan. That's all that's in here right now. Some of this is just some additional stuff that needs to get mounted or moved around. In our extrication compartment, we have RAM extensions here and here, as well as in this compartment here, we have a container that has your 110 direct power. So if all your batteries are to die on scene for some odd reason, you can pull your extension cables or your cord reels, plug this in and plug it into a tool and directly power the tool. To get the tools out, this has no system that locks it in place. You just pull it straight back. Just be careful not to knock on the door like I just did. From here, you don't have to try to fight around each way. There is a lever here. You pull that lever up and you can twist the tools. It locks every quarter turn. So whatever tool you want to use, turn to get to and operate. Make sure when you put this back to always leave the RAM, the tool that's facing outward. That makes it so the door is shut appropriately. Otherwise, things don't quite fit up. To operate the tools, we'll do another training day on these, but essentially your batteries have an indicator that shows you what your battery life is, and you have a push button that turns it off and on. That noise it's making is normal. That's actually the pump operating, so you can use your tool. Turn it off, you push the button again. On every tool, there's also a push button with its own separate battery behind this plate that operates lights to show your scene what you're doing. That way, if you're in low light conditions, you can operate your tool. Just turn that again to shut it off. When you're done, slide everything back in. It'll set itself back in there. And then up here, like I said, RAM extensions and different tip sets for your RAM. On our officer side pump compartment, we have a New York hook, and will be another rubbish hook, currently not on here. We have our third cord reel, once again 150 foot. Also to note, every cord reel has a rewind very near to it, so you can rewind the cord back in. We've got spanner wrenches and hydrant wrench. We have our intake valve here, discharge 2, which I was talking about. And then this is discharge 3, this is what I was talking about for the relay pumping. This would be a 5-inch hose going to another truck to do relay pumping. Right here we have our blitz monitor. We're looking to get a cover for it, but this is where it's going to stay permanently mounted. You pull up the release here, and in the very front there is a lever to slide it forward and pull it out. We put it here, so in theory, if you wanted to use the attack line here, you can take the nozzle off and run it straight into your blitz fire. Our ladder control up and down is right here. To operate the ladders down, all the doors have to be shut. So I'll go and shut the doors real quick, bring down the ladder rack and show you.